Sound Transit's West Seattle and Ballard Link extensions will provide fast, reliable light rail connections to dense residential areas and job centers throughout the region. We're currently starting the environmental review for the project, which includes preparing a draft and final Environmental Impact Statement, or EIS. This project will serve West Seattle and Ballard and neighborhoods in between. This includes a new downtown Seattle light rail tunnel to provide capacity for the entire regional system to operate efficiently. Here are the current routes and station locations that we're studying. Starting from the north on the map, we'll study elevated and tunnel alternatives in Ballard and elevated routes through Inner Bay, tunnel routes and stations through South Lake Union, downtown, and the Chinatown International District, surface and elevated alternatives through SoDo, elevated alternatives across the Duwamish Waterway and into Delridge, and finally, elevated and tunnel options into the Alaska Junction in West Seattle. Please visit our website at wsblink.participate.online. wsblink.participate.online for more detailed maps of the alternatives we'll be studying. During this phase, we will write and publish a draft Environmental Impact Statement, or draft EIS, and ask the public and agencies for comments on the document. The document will help Sound Transit and our federal partner, the Federal Transit Administration, as well as the public, understand the environmental consequences of the project to inform decision-making. An EIS looks at a range of alternatives, identifies potential impacts, and potential mitigation. We'll study multiple route and station options in the draft EIS. The document will include analysis of potential effects to various elements of the natural and built environment and transportation systems. This will look at potential effects during construction as well as during operation of the light rail system. Here are some of the topics we look at in the transportation section of the draft EIS. Potential ridership for each station, potential impacts to transit services such as changes to transit stops or routes, regional and local traffic including changes to local traffic and potential delay at intersections, non-motorized facilities, which looks at pedestrian and bicycle circulation near the station areas, potential impacts to freight, including movement by truck, rail, and water, marine navigation, meaning the movement of vessels in Salmon Bay and the Duwamish, and parking, including potential loss of parking and neighborhood parking effects near station locations. Here are some of the topics we look at in the natural environment section of the draft EIS. Air quality and greenhouse gas emissions. This includes emissions during construction from operating equipment. It also considers the change in vehicle miles traveled as a result of the project. Ecosystems, evaluating impacts to wetlands, vegetation, and wildlife. Water resources, including potential impacts to streams, rivers, shorelines, and floodplains. And geology and soils, including liquefaction or landslide areas. The draft EIS also evaluates potential for settlement and groundwater effects. Here are some of the topics we look at in the built environment section of the draft EIS. Acquisitions, displacements, and relocations, where we'll identify properties potentially affected by the project. We'll assess noise and vibration, economic effects, including changes to business and employment activity as a result of property acquisition. It will qualitatively look at potential changes in property values and qualitatively assess potential changes in business environment due to construction impacts. Potential changes to visual resources, potential impacts to park and open space, land use, which considers direct effects of property changed to a public transportation use for the project. It will also qualitatively look at potential redevelopment of land in the vicinity of stations. Here are more of the topics we look at in the built environment section of the draft EIS. Energy use, both during construction and operation of the project. This also considers the change in energy use as people shift from other vehicles to using light rail, hazardous materials by identifying existing sites with contaminants, public facilities such as potential impacts to post offices, fire stations, and response times for emergency services, impacts on low-income and minority populations. The draft EIS will identify historic and archaeological resources and assess if the project would affect them. And finally, neighborhoods and community facilities, including effects to neighborhood cohesion and interaction. Equity and inclusion is important for Sound Transit. In the previous phase of the project, we partnered with the City of Seattle to complete a racial equity toolkit. We are committed to furthering that work with our focus on environmental justice within each area of natural and built environment studied in the EIS. The draft EIS considers environmental justice by describing demographics, evaluating whether the project disproportionately impacts minority and low-income communities based on the analysis and what we hear from outreach efforts, considering potential project benefits, such as improved access to opportunity. Here's our timeline for the environmental review phase. The draft EIS is anticipated to be published in early 2021. We will begin a 45-day public comment period once it's been published. Based on the EIS analysis and public and agency comment, the Sound Transit Board will confirm or modify the preferred alternative. For the rest of the environmental phase, we anticipate publishing the final EIS in 2022. It will include responses to the comments we receive from you during the draft EIS comment period. After the final EIS is published, the Sound Transit Board will select the project to be built. There are many ways to stay engaged with the project. You can participate in a neighborhood forum, online open house or workshop, and share your feedback with project staff. Request a briefing to your community group. Stop by our booth at neighborhood fairs and festivals, or you can email or call the project team with your questions. Based on continued guidance, one of our strategies to stay connected with you is to replace in-person events with online meetings and provide additional opportunities for you to get updates digitally. As a reminder, the next formal comment period for the project is coming up in early 2021 when we publish the draft EIS. Want to learn more? Check out our other videos about the project, station planning, available on our website at soundtransit.org/WSB link. That's soundtransit.org/WSBLINK.